Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric. Welcome to Epic Universe Reviews, a series of videos reviewing each of the 11 rides at the all-new Universal's Epic Universe theme park at Universal Orlando Resort. In each video, I will talk through my experience on one of the rides, provide useful information about it, and give some final thoughts on how good the ride is. For the 8th video in this series, I am reviewing Minecart Madness. Spoilers incoming. This is a roller coaster using the new boom arm technology that allows riders to sit in a vehicle that's held way above the track. Why is it like that? So the park can build fake track just below where you sit, and make the car look like it's actually jumping over missing track pieces. It's a unique experience save for the original Japan version, and I went in super excited for this. Honestly, I thought it'd be one of my favorite rides in the park, but then I heard what others were saying and I was a little nervous. The reception was very mixed, but now that I've ridden it, I can confidently say it is indeed one of the best rides in the park. It's a blast, and I disagree with many of the criticisms the ride got. Let's talk through the whole experience to see what makes Minecart Madness so great. First, the entrance experience. This beginning illustrates one great strength and one great flaw for this ride. The strength is the appearance. This is one of the most beautiful roller coaster presentations I've ever seen, and that's saying something. The Golden Temple looks so grand, maybe more so than any other structure in Super Nintendo World. The entire Donkey Kong Country area is surrounded by the roller coaster and its many environments, such as the temple, the ruins, and the water feature. The totems and plants you see along the way are also very well designed, and minecarts are constantly flying through the area when the ride is open. The carts even have spinning wheels and headlights, really selling the idea that they're riding on that minecart track, even though they never actually touch it. It's so photogenic. Generally, I do prefer roller coasters where you can see more of the actual ride as it travels through a beautiful setting like Nemesis Reborn at Alton Towers, but still, this is among the very best looking theme park attractions I know of. Once you reach the entrance, you will observe one of the ride's most widely acknowledged flaws, the wait time. Wait time does not influence my opinion on the ride, so I am somewhat surprised that so many reviews brought it up as a major thing. But, to be fair, the ride does consistently have one of the longest waits at Epic Universe. I got online 15 minutes after it opened for the day following a 4-hour delay in operations, and I waited 65 minutes. That may not sound horrible. Other rides had 2-hour waits that day, and Harry Potter can reach a 5-hour wait at times. But my 65-minute wait was lucky. The wait time quickly climbed to 2 hours when I was in line, and it stayed pretty high for the remainder of the day. If you have early entry, you might want to do this one first. I've heard bad things about the single rider line in terms of how it moves, so if you can't do this before the line fills up, you're just gonna have to stick out a long wait. Personally, I think it's worth it. While I said wait time does not affect my thoughts on the ride, it does affect my likelihood of re-riding it. Honestly, I think this ride is worth that wait in general. Even on re-rides. If every ride at Epic Universe had the same wait time, this would be one of my very first choices to get in line for. Heck, if Minecart Madness had an extra 45-minute wait compared to Dragon Racer's Rally or even Curse of the Werewolf, I'd go for Minecart Madness for sure. I think it's a very fun ride, and I'd be willing to wait in the queue for an hour or two again, just to get on that if I went back to Epic Universe. However, many would disagree with that because of another issue people have with the ride, the queue. Minecart Madness does not have the most elaborately themed queue out there. Some even say it's the worst in the park. I assume those people did not ride Curse of the Werewolf, but either way, it doesn't have as much stuff to hold your attention as most other queues, especially when that wait is long. The first outdoor portion that you'll likely spend time in since the line's often backed up to there is enjoyable. You're surrounded by a section of the ride, and it looks great as you watch the cars pass by. It's dynamic and enjoyable, a good start to the queue overall. Next, you enter a narrow hallway painted gold, indicating you're in the temple. This is where people start to complain. The rooms in this temple are very bare bones, containing little of note up until the large room, which only features a few things. I do love the things the room has though. There's an interactive element for those with the power band, you can make a banana light up on the ceiling, and I believe the thing it does is tied to how many points you have. There's also paintings on the wall, designed to look ancient, and they're quite a lot of fun. One shows worshippers of the golden banana, helping riders understand the ride's story and the main thing you're looking for. The other resembles the original Donkey Kong arcade game. Even if you don't know the Donkey Kong Country games, you'll probably recognize this. For those who do know the Nintendo stuff, there are some Pikmin getting crushed by a barrel. After this room, there are animatronics of Cranky Kong and Squawks from the Donkey Kong Country games, and I think that's awesome. I didn't see them in action, so I wonder if Cranky only talks every once in a while, or if he just wasn't working at that time. Afterwards, you pass some vines and finally board the ride. This queue really does only have 4 or 5 notable theming elements plus views of the coaster. For me, that's enough. I won't say time flew by in this queue, but I enjoyed what it had, and I found waiting for Yoshi's Adventure, Curse of the Werewolf, and even Harry Potter and the Battle of the Ministry to be far less interesting experiences. Harry Potter's for another time though. I find the queue acceptable. It's far from the worst out there, and I wouldn't even call it worse than the park. It's just that you'll likely spend more time here than you might want to. Now to explore whether or not the ride is worth that wait in the apparently hated queue. Once you board your minecart, the song Gear Getaway begins. It is a perfect fit for the ride, having a jazzy sound that makes the ride feel lively and adventurous. The first scene, you pass an animatronic of Dixie Kong, which is nice as seeing more characters in the games is great. Then you climb the first hill at a pretty steady pace, and you enter a tunnel shaped like a barrel that replicates the barrels you launch out of in the games. Once you're there, you briefly speed up before slowing down again as the sound of you flying through the air plays. Once you reach the fake track in front of you, you hear an anvil sound to indicate you're back on track. I love this first jump and all the ones that follow it. You can see the fake track but not the real one, so while riding, I did kind of forget that we were way above the real track. That's a lot of fun. I obviously knew the track was fake that we were jumping on, but it really was easy to forget just what was actually happening. The pacing of the jumps and the added sound effects further enhance these moments, not to mention how beautiful the area is everywhere you look. I love how slowly you crest the hill, giving you a great view of the temple facade for an extended period. After this, there's a large indoor drop, a brief journey through the ruin area, an indoor section where your train quickly jumps from side to side, a second lift hill even closer to the temple, 2 more drops, a moderate splashdown, and a dark ride scene where you find the golden banana to finish it off. This experience is enjoyable through and through. It really sells that track jumping gimmick on the ride, save for the largest 2 drops. However, those 2 drops are very fast moments, so you don't linger on them long enough. By the time you realize you can see the real track, you're already back to jamming out to the song and exploring Donkey Kong Country. Another major critique the ride has gotten is that it is janky. Many of the stops and turns will shake you around, in part due to that arm that holds you up not being perfectly still. That might sound like a safety concern, but just so everybody knows, if there was no flexibility on that arm, it would be susceptible to snapping. So that shakiness is not going to go away for the sake of staying safe. Some won't enjoy the roughness, but it's not painful, and there was a member of my party who is notorious for a low roughness tolerance of roller coasters who loved this ride. It was their favorite in the park and they didn't mind the roughness at all. Besides, the abrupt turns are very much part of the theme, and the ride vehicle shaking as you go through these turns further sells the idea that you're really switching tracks. The ride's frequent brake runs and shakiness are similar to another Universal roller coaster, the soon-to-be-closed Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. That ride has the same issues, but they actively make that ride less enjoyable, while I think Donkey Kong is not any worse for it. The reason is that Rip Ride Rocket is a large, thrilling roller coaster. It reaches speeds of 65 miles per hour, and when you constantly slow down, it kills the momentum. The shakiness, when I have experienced it, is also generally worse when you're going at a higher speed. Minecart Madness goes probably half the speed of Rip Ride Rocket, so the brake runs don't completely slow you down. Maybe the abrupt stops following the large 2 drops are a little weird, but the slower parts of the ride are some of the most fun to me, as I do enjoy the scenery, and honestly, the scenic parts are just as much fun if not more so than the thrilling ones. I also find the mix of indoor and outdoor scenes to be very well done here. It really does feel like you're entering a new level or some sort, and it's very well paced each time you're in those dark ride sections. They're not super fast, and they don't feel like they're over too quickly. This ride's pacing is nothing like the other roller coasters in the park, but the ride is going for something completely different. I'd say it succeeds. It's well themed, moderately thrilling, and captures an equal amount of fun as Hiccup's Wing Gliders, but with an atmosphere of its own. Nearly every scene is executed perfectly, but I do have one nitpick on that execution when it comes to the gimmick. That is during the second big drop. At this point, the fake track twists above you because of some villain, and you fall and then land on another fake track. This part happens fast enough that I didn't really realize what was happening in the scene as I rode. I knew I was jumping to a new track, but I didn't really notice the track twisting up to the ceiling because of how quickly we went by. Otherwise, I think the entire gimmick is successful, and the ride is just as fun as any other attraction at Epic Universe. Overall, Minecart Madness is definitely one of the best attractions at the park in my opinion. Visually, it's top notch. The pacing is unique but great. The ride pulls off a first-of-its-kind experience as a roller coaster, save for the Japan duplicate, and the vibe of the ride is fun regardless of your knowledge of Donkey Kong. I'd be surprised if there were people who rode this and didn't enjoy the music, the visuals, or the gimmick, even if they didn't really know who Donkey Kong was. Many have deemed this ride a one and done, mainly due to it being a challenge to get on. And I do understand that, but based on the fun factor, this is 100% in my top 5 of the park, and based on the theming only, it might be even higher. Small moments do break the immersion, but no moments stop this from being a fun time. This is a must for Donkey Kong fans, and if you're not one, give the ride a chance. It just might surprise you. To end this review, I will be giving the ride a number score out of 10. A 1 means that it is among the absolute worst of Universal attractions, such as Fast and Furious Supercharged. A 10 means it is among the absolute best of Universal attractions, such as Velocicoaster or Spider-Man. Those scores are just my opinion, as is a score for Minecart Madness. I will be giving Minecart Madness a very strong 8 out of 10. The visuals would be a 10, and the gimmick execution could probably be a 9. But the ride is not significantly more fun than some of the other best rides at the park, so I can't quite give it a higher score. Still, it's a high-tier Epic Universe ride in my opinion, and I'm very, very happy I got to experience it. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please comment down below your thoughts on the ride and any questions you may have. Subscribe and stay tuned for the next Epic Universe review. I'll see you next time.